Hello. Hello, how are you? Luana, can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. Um, is it the homework is more than usual or it's
Um,
okay?
it's okay. It
Okay.
was fine.
Okay. So, yeah, when do you start your exam again? Sorry, you told me like maybe next week.
Yes, I have my first exam on Wednesday.
So, how many exams you have per week?
Okay, so next week I only have one.
Okay.
The following week I have one,
Okay.
and the week after that I have four.
Four. Wow. That is
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I mean I understand that is quite tough. But believe me, if you finish your studies and even go to work in the current work environment, you will see that you have a lot of deadlines and have a lot of continuous exams in the working space without you feeling it. They will not tell you that this is an exam, but they will tell you this is the deadline. I mean, I work in corporates a lot, so I understand how this works. So believe me, you will think that the exam times was actually less stressful than what you're going to see in the work environment. So this is, to me, I consider part of the training that it make you a bit tougher so to face the real life. Um, okay,
Okay.
so now tell me how is it on the homework, please?
I was able to do it. Just share my screen.
Yes, please. Yeah, it's still opening, and while that I will. So you're opening now the object oriented or the linear search.
Object
Okay,
orient.
yeah, it still didn't open yet, but so
Maybe if I stop and
no, I think you just need to be patient a bit.
okay.
Sometimes it takes some time with some students. It depends on how fast is the internet. And then just summarize me what was difficult from your opinion. And
I didn't have any difficulties with this actually.
mhm. So how many classes you built? Yeah, I
It
can.
was one class.
Okay, one class only. Did I wait? Yes, let me confirm again. One class.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I am able to see your screen. Yes. Okay. Yep. Okay. So
Question.
it was about a vending machine.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me then. Explain to me, please, if you don't mind.
Okay, so basically the question first asked me to create the class vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
And in the constructor, there's four parameters that it takes in. So item one, item two, item three, and item four.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it also asked me to create an array called items where
Mm-hmm.
these four items will be stored.
Okay. Yep.
Parameter. And there's also money in, just I put it to zero. And the following
Okay.
question asks me to make um the final function, I don't know why I put here, the final function called check valid. So within this function, it says that it needs to take the code as a parameter. But when I try to just take the code as a parameter code itself without money in and items, it gave me an error. So I
Money
don't know.
in. Okay. Let me ask you first. Money
Yeah.
in, isn't it a variable here?
It is a variable.
Okay, so can you, I mean, because if you put money in and items is already inside your class. You don't need to take it and input from outside. And
Okay,
who
so
can give you the input, the money in, and it's already stored inside. So, okay, now tell me what is the error. So if you face an error here, it means that these items you should, you should, how to say, put self before it to indicate that this is just an internal variable within the class.
Okay. But oh, okay.
Okay, and get code. Okay, get code. Yep. You have a for loop, and then you have if statement, and you check with, okay.
Here I would put in length.
Can you explain to me, please? I'm trying to digest what you are trying to do in this if statement. Why you are having a lot of conditions here, if you don't mind? Why there is two conditions, 1 and 2? Why is that?
Because, okay, I'll go to the question. Open up the question. So the question basically says that, okay, if the code is not valid, it will output -1.
Okay, fine.
But for the second statement, it says that if the code is valid, but the money in is less than the cost of the item. So there's two conditions that I need to
Okay. Yep. Okay, this is
consider.
condition 1 and this is condition 2. Okay,
Yes.
fine. Yes. And then,
And
okay,
here
that's totally
too.
fine.
And if the code is valid and the money is greater than or equal to, which is what I did.
Okay, so, yep. Okay, so we are checking here to, okay, we get the code. If the code is okay, then we move to the next. So, okay, and you get here, get cost. Get cost. Let me check. Okay. Because to me, if you go into, to me, the code like that is a bit weird. In programming, if we repeat the code, the same conditions in 2 lines, it means that something is not correct. This is exactly the same condition that we are checking in both sides. And one time, let me check here. You're saying here bigger than. And where did we see bigger than? Where?
Greater than or equal to. Okay, so I guess we could put an if statement for this condition. For this condition, since it's the same for both. Okay,
Yes.
let me just what we could do. I'll just write it down here. If self dot But what I was trying to say, okay, I'll just explain. So rather than doing this, we can maybe put one if statement for this line over here.
Yes.
And then we put an if statement right after it for this line.
Yes, that make more sense to me.
Okay.
So you don't have to repeat yourself in this way.
Okay.
Because also if you put this in a if statement below that, and you put another else for it. So it means that if it is not bigger or equal, then it could be less and equal. So this could be
Okay.
part of the else. Yeah. Okay.
Um, 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 Should I put it out if statement or just else is fine?
Else is fine.
Because we have two other conditions.
No, no, we don't have two other. Only have one more condition, but so you okay. So you have -2 to return, right?
Oh, okay. Yes, I understand. Okay. Yes, and then outside of the if statement, return -1.
Well, I mean, if you understand that on your own and you do it on your own, that is something great. I would say that you really have to think about going to study computer science at university. Really, if you do it alone, then I think you are capable of really becoming a good programmer.
Thank you.
That is amazing. Yeah, that's really amazing. I mean, I don't have so smart students in my past history. It's only you and another student that was preparing for going to Cambridge University. So Cambridge or Oxford, I cannot really recall. He was from UK, and then he's African based. He's staying in UK, but then he traveled to US for with his mother for some trips or something, and then she was preparing him from the age of 14 to see the requirement of, I can't remember, Cambridge or Oxford University. I cannot remember. So I think you are the second person I would say that I salute you for your smartness, I would say. Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
What else? Wait, give me a second. Give me a second. My question to you, again, let us repeat the same thing. Do you remember that I told you if we put something like that, do you remember? If you define a
Yes.
method, do you know what is, can you still remember what is the purpose of that method if we put it?
So that we can display it all, not display it all, sorry. Instead of making a function display info, we can use this and
Okay,
display.
okay, no problem.
something.
It's good that you remember. I will not use it here because this code actually have remaining how to say remaining parts that I didn't pass to you. So it have, I think, C and D requirement or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So I will pass it to you. So it means that this code need to be you need to keep adding on top of that. There is more requirement in the exam question. And then other than that, you just proceed with the linear search, please, so that we don't lose time here. Okay, now explain to me, please, what you did.
Okay, so I initialized the array to 0 and I put false, found to false, assigned it.
Okay.
And we take a number as a parameter and we run the code by the
Okay.
amount of by the length of the array. And if the number, the parameter that was taken in is the same as the whatever is in this data element for the array,
Uh-huh.
found will be true and we'll return found. And we'll break the loop. We won't need to run it anymore. Else it's going to be found false and then return found.
Let me think. Let me think. Um, hmm. But let me ask you then, what is the purpose? So I understand that I mean, your answer is basically affected by the code I passed you, right?
Yes, but I didn't refer to it back to it. I
So
just used the names that I
no
remember.
problem. It's okay. No. I'm not asking because of that. No, I'm not accusing of anything. Just let me think with you. Why I'm then, I mean, in this context of the question, why I am actually using found.
I think that the question it asked to found. So
It takes an integer as a parameter, performs a linear search, and to find the parameter, and then return true if it was found, and false if
so
it is not found.
okay, so we don't even need to put found. Okay.
So no, what I say is that I mean, in this context, in this question specifically, you just need to return true or return false without the
Okay.
need to really write found, because I mean, found you're not using it. You are okay. That's one thing. The second thing I would say is that um, so you cheat, yes, excellent, false. Okay, excellent. So one more thing, please. Let me highlight you. I understand again that you are affected by the code that I explained to you yesterday. No problem. Uh, but that is a modification because the code that I passed you does not have a method and it was not requiring something like the exam question. Whenever you return true, you are never going to execute anything in the code after you run return. So if you return true here, you will never come here, you will never come here. So in this case, if you return true directly, because in the code that I explained to you, it does not have a return. It is just breaking and printing something based on the found. So I would say that I don't really need break. In this case, return false, wait, return false is correct. Return false will get executed only when. So if you never find, if this never get executed, which means that I never return true, which means that I didn't find the item within my list, then I will return false. So that is correct. But the break, I think it's clear to you why we remove it.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, perfect. And then one possible way, so what you're going to print here, you are going to print true or false, right? So typically, if we would like to print something like that, it is just better to put it in a print statement. Sorry, in an if statement. So the if would say if the linear search with the number true, then do something else, say something else. So in this case, you will print maybe item found or just a text that the item was found. Here, print item wasn't found. So this is as simple as that. So you just put the linear search in an if statement, and then you print, instead of printing true or false. I mean, printing true or false is for us to understand. But in the exam, the ideal answer would be to really put a an if statement like that. But let me understand from you. Can you please go back to the code that I passed you, or the question, the part of the question that I passed you? Tell me what is the last thing that what is the last part of the question that I passed you here?
The linear search.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So I can't open it because
No problem. No problem. It's okay. Just give me a second.
I'll explain why I can't open it. So basically, I was using my other Replit account, but then it told me that I ran out
of running times. Yeah, you're free. You have to use another email.
So I used another email. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Yeah, I know. It's just free, and they started to limit the amount of time that they're giving for free accounts. I'm sorry, so sorry for that.
It's okay.
So, okay, I understand now. Actually, what is the linear search talking about? So, one more thing. Sorry, I didn't tell you. You are able to actually download the other code. So even though, but you need to do it this way, you know. So do you get, or do you still remember the URL of your other account?
Yes.
So if you got that, you use a different browser that you don't use it for logging to the Replit, and from there you were able to access all your code, and even I can't say that you're able to download it, but what you can do is that you just can access the code itself and copy it to here. So I think you also need to make sure that all these codes that you have here are downloaded on your computer, because you cannot guarantee that this will last forever. You remember, right?
Okay.
Okay. So I think like that, we are totally fine. Let us move on, please. But I think you stay here, because I would say go to the main. Do you still have the code? So can you please make sure that you duplicate this code and save it somewhere, so that
Okay. Already duplicated it.
Okay, so are you able to copy the last code that we did together, which is the code yesterday? We talked about the library. Can you still remember the library?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you put it back in the main, please?
Again, I have to go back.
Oh, okay, never mind. No, but you already downloaded and give it to me. So wait, give me a second. I will. You still can remember, right? That you give it.
Yes.
You
Yes,
give it. Yeah. So you can get it from the WhatsApp and put it.
How can I open it?
Open it using Notepad. Notepad, yes. Before the paint, yes. Above the paint, yes. So you just need to say Control A, Control C, and then paste Control V here. Okay, so this is the code from yesterday, right? You remember what is the last issue that we have? Can you still recall?
I remember.
Okay, okay, good. So the point here when we're trying to, I don't know why we missed that part, but as you see here, what we did is we take the list of the books from inside the library, we save it to something outside, and then what we did, we tried to print the book. At the end of the day, this is an array that is full of book objects. And when we try to print a book object, and we never defined the def str underscore self inside the book, then definitely when you try to print an object, it will just print the address of the object inside the memory. So to print something out from this book, when you do it here, so you really need to define the underscore string in this way. Or you can go up, show me the book class. What is defined inside the book class? Go up again. Okay, so the book class here have this display method defined. So the easiest way, one of the easiest way, so either use the display info or define this so that when you call the object directly without calling any method, it will just print the data here when you define it under str. So do you understand what I'm saying, or you're getting confused? Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay, so the easiest thing, just to save our time at the moment, maybe not the exact correct path, but just to save our time, let me demonstrate to you. So I would say that you write here, this here.
Where, sorry? Here, okay.
Yes, within the book class. So you define underscore string. You put self, and then colon, and then you put a print statement, and you inside the print statement you tell maybe parameters need to be printed, or maybe yeah, just say parameters need to be printed. So later on you should do something similar to this. You put it here. Okay, so I just want to demonstrate to you, if you run now with this kind of code, okay, then we will see that, yeah, okay, it should work. Okay, can you try to run?
I ran. It prints parameters need to be printed, but then it says str return the non-string.
Yeah, it means that we did not write the str definition correct. So do you remember what we said last time about str?
What I do remember what we spoke about it, but I don't remember where's the error in the definition.
Okay. Define str. Can you move your cursor on top of the str? Let me check. It's supposed to accept that. You move the cursor on top of the line 15 str. Did you move the cursor? The mouse. Move the mouse. Can you move the mouse on top of here?
Here.
No? Go.
Here.
Yes. Okay.
str
overrides class object in. Okay, so possibly we need to write type mismatch base method return type str override returns type. Okay, I got that. Yes. So yeah, I got it. So when we try to override that, we should not write a print statement directly. So what you do is you change this print statement. Instead of printing, just return the string that you already write in the print statement. Yes, correct. Yes. So yes, remove that. That will make it work. So now run. So if you look here, let me see. Okay. So if you look here, you will find that so every time I try to print the book object, what is going to be printed? Parameters need to be printed, right? So one of the things that you can do is just you copy this. You copy this portion, you put it inside, you replace this. So if you copy the title, it will make us feel that this is a different object that is being called for 3 times. Let me try. Yes, yes, yep.
Run.
Yes. So you see here, I'm actually, I mean, of course, that is not enough to be in the string. But I mean, as an example, I should return a bigger statement with other parameters included. But at the moment, you can see that every time we print for a different book. So we have 3 books. One is called Python Programming Data Science Handbook, and then the Great Gets By or something like that. So this are both, the 3 of them is printed out, right? But why I'm still getting here? Are you able to recognize why I'm still getting the memory address again from the code, even though I already corrected this?
Because we saw the statement here.
So,
Right.
so okay, we fix it. We fix it already. We fixed it already. This, I mean, this portion already fixed. So it means that you can just take a book, and this is actually an object that is stored inside the list. Okay, so we take the list outside from the library. We put it to a variable. So this array, it's array of list of books, and we go through each book, which is an object and it's in its place, and then we print it out. And when it is printed, we print this 3, because the books that we added is only 3 books. Now, when you try to print the last line, this is responsible for this. So,
okay. So this str statement definition, sorry, str function here is the one that allows us to print this here.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
it allows
okay.
you to print the book, and it does not, I mean, if you did not define it, the book that you're trying to print will only print the memory address where this book object is actually stored on the heap.
Okay.
Okay. But I mean, okay, if you would like to get rid of this, so I would say comment that line. So that line, you cannot take it directly and just print it. You have to make a loop, and then you are able to really produce some output like this. So you see, do you see now what is happening?
I do see.
Okay, is it clear? Can we proceed?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, then please maybe duplicate this code if you would like. If you don't, it's totally up to you, but just empty what we are having here. Do you still remember the swapping code that we write?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay, are you able to write it from your brain, or you need me to pass you something?
I think I might be able to write it from my brain.
Try to see.
Try to remember.
If not, then I will also, I can easily send you this swapping.
Swapping, not the binary search.
No, the swapping, only the swapping.
So I think it's better she send it.
Okay, no problem. So I would, is it possible that I can put it in the WhatsApp? Are you able to look at the WhatsApp? Or I better put it in the chat?
I can look at it through my phone. So
yeah,
yes.
Okay, that's good. So I would say,
Now that I see it, I can remember it. I don't know why it's forgotten.
okay. So, okay, now do you understand what this code is trying to do?
Yes, yes, it's swapping the values of A and B.
Okay. And please test it after you put it, and then let us have. Okay, so I think this is the result we are expecting, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Can you please make a list, the list of integers, and this list of integers, it need to be unsorted, which means that we can put maybe 50, 20, 10, 5, 1. So we make it like that, and you call
Okay.
that array. So you do it on line 7, yes? Okay, make a loop for me, please, and you loop through every element in the array. Excellent. You can initially print whatever inside the array. You know how to do that?
So
Excellent. Run. So we printed the array. You already know how to write a loop, which is excellent. Now let us go to business. So I would say that, are you able to put an if statement? So let me just try to explain here. Please give me a second. I would say that this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you already know that. I would like to make an if statement that compare this and this. So for every time the loop run, instead of printing, I would comment the line of printing, and I will put an if statement that compare. So I mean, we know that x will have the values of 0 and then 1, 2, and so on. So I would call this x, and I will call that x plus 1. So I would like you to compare x and x plus 1.
And what should the comparison be? If x...
So if we discover that x is bigger than x, no, wait. If x plus 1 is smaller than x, then we should swap. So because, okay, we try to sort the array with the smaller numbers at the start. So it means that if I find that this is smaller than this, I should swap. So do you know how to swap? Looking at this.
Yes, I do. That's giving me an error. Okay. Send x plus 1.
Can you, yes, move on the error? You'll be able to see what is the error. So, okay, now it's okay, no problem in the confusion. The point here, what are we swapping? Are we swapping the x? Or is the X is only a number that indicates the position of the array? Are we changing 0 and 1? Are we swapping 0 and 1? Or are we swapping 50 and 20? Yes, now I think, yeah. Your father should be very proud of you.
Thank you. So it's this, and then if we swap.
So now after we do that, go down, please, and go outside the for loop and print this array. Okay, perfect. Now run and watch out what is going to appear. Let me try to. Let me see what is the error here. X plus 1, he does not accept it. Where? Index out of range. Yes, this is an error. Okay, now, this is an error that we need to think about it. Okay, so let me explain why this error is actually appearing. So we said here, we have 50, and this is at index 0. Then, okay, let us consider that we are here and here. So here is the X, and here is X plus 1, okay? If you reach, when you reach, yes, okay, that's excellent. Okay, I mean, you guessed it, or?
No, I remembered
Okay.
that should be X minus 1.
Okay, yep. So, okay, I mean, do you see now what's happening? The 20 that was initially here, and the 50 that was initially at the 0 position now moved to the 50, to the last, to be the last element in the array. Is it the array is sorted?
No.
It's not sorted. So we know that, yes, we looped, and then we did a swapping, but we did not yet manage to sort all the array. Okay, what about, can you write here a print statement, which is part of our solidifying our understanding? Put a print statement, swapping occurred. Just to see how many times we get this swapping done. So do you see how many times you did the swapping? I mean, or at least the swapping give you true. So actually to push every time we run a loop like that, we actually pushing one of the big numbers towards the end. So actually I need to repeat this loop many times to get this list arranged. And every time I run it, actually, I will notice that one of the bigger numbers got bubbled towards the end. So it's pushed towards the end. Next time, if I run, can you copy that loop? Can you copy these lines and put it under here, including the line 13?
I'll just write it.
Okay, no problem. Just so yes, fix that by removing the indentation. Yes. And fix the for loop. You forget the F. Okay, that's good. Run, please.
Be intensive.
Okay. So I would like you to see that this is the first time I run, and then 50 was here, and then the 20 was here. And then the second time I run the loop, it managed to push the 20, which is the second biggest number, towards the end. So every time I call this loop, it actually arrange my array one more time toward that until we reach the goal that we get it totally sorted. So
we need a nested for loop.
Yes, we need more than one for loop actually. So it means that so instead of repeating that, I would just put another for loop on top of this.
And this for loop needs to repeat 5 times, right? Or 4?
Try with 5 times first.
Yeah.
And see what is the error. But I prefer that you comment lines from 15 until the remaining, because we don't need that anymore. I mean, you will end up, okay, so you did 2 for loops, and you managed to reach here, and then, yeah, I mean, okay, now you managed to do that, right? But actually, I can't say that this kind of design is efficient. It's not efficient, okay? It's not efficient because of many reasons, but one of the things, like I told you, every time I run this, I actually do a comparison that is not needed, an extra comparison, because every time this loop runs, it pushes one big number towards the end, which means that this number does not really need to be compared in an if statement anymore. So every time I run, I should reduce this loop. Every time I run one time from here, I should reduce the amount of times that the inner loop runs. But how can we do that?
Okay, design. So maybe we could put in here y minus 1 or not?
You are correct. You are correct, but it just need to be fine-tuned. So it's a length of array, okay, which is in this case 5, right? So 5 minus y minus 1.
Okay.
So every time this increase, the y increase, we reduce the amount of time we run the inner loop. By doing so, you are reducing the amount of comparison, because we already saw the first time we run, we make the 50 reach here. Second time, we make the 20 reach here. So we don't really need to run towards the end. Let's run and see. So, okay, that is actually good. So I understand that if you didn't put more print statement, you will never be, you will not know that you actually fine-tuned. But in reality, you are actually moving toward improving your code. I can't say that this is the most efficient version of the sorting code. This code, or this algorithm, we call it a bubble sort. So is it clear so far?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, it is.
and then you stop, and then I will give you another version of the code, and that we actually call it to be more efficient than this. So the more efficient version of this, instead of this 2 for loops, so we actually so in the 2 for loops, we still do comparison no matter what. So you have when we study computer science, we studied 2 things. So we sometimes build our code based on the most worst scenario. The worst scenario is that when I give you a list that is totally not sorted, but in real life you might end up with a list that is half sorted. It means that only maybe half of the numbers just need to be swapped, but not all. Okay, so when you have something like that, if your code it is not fine-tuned like what we are going to show you here, then definitely you will actually run more if statement comparisons. Okay, so that is happening with the two for loops that I shared with you. So now this code, I would say that this is very close to what we do in pseudocode. Okay, so as you can see here, we are using a temporary variable to do the swapping. So this is swapping. And then I'm not using two for loops. I'm using a one while loop, and the inner, it is a for loop. Okay, so I first defined first and then last. So this is, of course, pointing to here, the first, and this is pointing to the last, and this is 9. And then if you can see, every time I run this for loop, I reduce my last by 1. And this is what we did when we subtracted y from the range of the second for loop. Can you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so every time we run, we reduce our last. Last will be the first 9, and then it will become 8, it will become 7. So it means that every time I am running the inner loop, I will reduce the number of times that the inner loop runs, which is exactly the same what we did. And this kind of if statement is exactly same like what you did, but he is using just different variable. Instead of using x like what you did, he's just using counter. And the other swapping, you're able to use the same concept like you did. There's no problem. Okay, except that he's adding one thing. He's adding a flag variable that's called swap. So watch out here. I mean, we know that the for loop, it is account controlled, which means that it have to do its job towards the end, that we need to have a fixed number of times that we run, and then it will stop. But while loop is not the case. I mean, the while loop is based on the condition that if it becomes false, we will stop running. So every time I run the inner loop, I will check the while loop if it's still true. So what I will go to check? I'm going to check if swap is still true and if the last bigger than the first. So because I'm reducing the last number every time by 1, so this, and the first is already 0. So if I keep reducing that number by 1 every time, I always would like to get my last to be bigger than first. If my last is no longer bigger than the first, it become here, there is no point to run the inner loop. I need to exit. I mean, I should stop. I already sorted all my array already. I already go through every element in the array. I mean, how is it? It's still
yes, I understand.
Okay, so okay, we start with swap equal true. And then once we pass these two conditions, that the 9 is bigger than 0 and the swap is true, then I assign false to the swap. This code, you need to memorize it by heart, okay? So because this code will benefit you in the pseudocode, and you're able to do one-to-one translation from the Python code toward the pseudocode, okay? Especially in this kind of form that I'm passing to you, because we're using temp, and that can be very familiar or very easy to do it in pseudocode. So here is a swapping. We already know. I do the for loop, and we know that we need many times to run this for loop. But why I'm using a flag variable swap? Because, okay, if I run one time, if I run one whole time with this inner for loop that runs and without a single swap, then the swap will never become true, which means that I will stop running the while loop. So it means that I'm able to cut off the while loop running if there is this for loop runs for its whatever range. Okay, it can maybe run from 0 until 7 or 6 or whatsoever. And if it runs all this while with this comparison, and there is not a single swap that make the swap become true, it means that the swap will remain false. And yes, I will reduce that loss by 1. But when I come here and I check that the swap is not true, I will immediately terminate the while. So that's why they call it an efficient loop. Because if I run one time and then I find that I'm not swapping anything. So what is the point that I need to keep, I reduce this by 1, and then I need to run it again for one more time, but instead of running until 6, I run it until 5, and then I know already I didn't do any swapping before, which means that if I run the full loop again and again and again, then also there is no possibility of swapping, because if you run from here until here and there is not a single swap, if you reduce that by 1, do you think that you will be able to find a swap? No, definitely it means that you are already sorted and you need to terminate. How is that? Is it confusing?
This makes sense. I can understand. Yes.
Okay, but just be aware. Same like when I teach you the swapping last. If you didn't write it, believe me, that is one of the most difficult things for the O level. So this is their top nightmare. So this code needs to be written. I can't say that you have to write it now. I'm sorry, because I also feel your fears of running out of time before we finish everything. But just let me tell you, we here are not a typical class, which means that what we are taking, I am making you answer exam questions. So you should not take the classes one step further, because I'm training you for the exam already. So you should be ready for the exam once we finish these classes, because we are always using the code. It's not only you are studying with your eyes. That's what I see from other students also. So like I said, this must be written. I will immediately send it after the class.
Okay.
And this is a small improvement that we are able to do to the code that I shared with you. Of course, we are using here, you used Y in your code and you use X here. But of course, if we use different variables, it doesn't harm us. And you see here that what we said. So what is the N? The N is your length. So you can also put len like what you did, and you put my list here, but that will make that bigger. So you can say len my list and then minus I minus 1. It is exactly the same. No difficulty, right? And this is typically what we did with the swapping. Okay. There is no difference from what you did just now, but except that we are adding again this swapping. So it means that every time I run the inner loop and then I manage to do a single swap, I will trigger the flag variable swap to be true, because I will do a check here, and then I will check if not swapped. If the swap is false, this actually is checking if the swapped equal false. If it is equal false, I will do what? I will break. So this break will actually break what? It will not break the inner for loop, because the inner for loop already finished, but actually I will go up and break this loop. So I will stop running here. So it means exactly same like what I explained. If there is no point, if I already run from here until maybe here, and then I see that I didn't do a single swap. If I reduce the next loop to run from here to here, I see no point of running anymore, because I already know that there will be no swapping. The list already sorted, so no need to do more swapping. So far, is that clear to you or difficult?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, so this improvement, this little improvement here, and with this, definitely need to be added to your code. Your code now is working, but the fine-tuned part would be this one. Okay. So far, okay?
Yes, fine.
Okay. So okay. I would say, let me try. So we have two types of actually sorting algorithm. We have, so what we did just now is the bubble sort. Okay, we need to study another sorting algorithm. Okay, I don't find that this algorithm, bubble sort, is more easier to digest. Okay, the insertion sort is slightly trickier in understanding the code. The concept is simple, but when we try to adjust that, it's slightly trickier. So what we're saying here, this is the code breakdown, because the original code, if we write it all, it would be slightly tricky. So imagine that you are sorting playing cards, and you pick a card. We call that the key. And then we start to move all bigger cards one position to the right. And then the last step would be to place the new card in the right position. So have a look. Have a look at this first. So we have here 0 as an index, 1 and 2. And then we choose the key, actually. We choose the I to be 2. So we are pointing here. Okay? So if I choose the I to be 2, and then I say my list with an index 2, it means that I'm storing this 2 inside the key. So my key now is 2. And then I say j equal I minus 1. What is I? I is equal to. So if I say here, it means that 2 minus 1, it is equal 1. So I'm assigning 1 to j. So at the moment, I is pointing to 2. This is I. And j is pointing to the index 1. And then we need to look more into this while loop and test it. So I will leave that to the next time, because that will take some time from us to really go through. But let me just, before we go through the code, I just would like to show you a breakdown, a simple demonstration of what this algorithm is actually going to do. So this is exactly same like the list we explained just now. We said that j is here and the I is here, and then this is the j and this is the key. The key is 2. Is 2 not the index, it's the value. Okay, we going through the steps here of comparing 2 to the 5. Okay, and then if we find that the 5 is actually bigger than the 2, so we will move the 5 in the place of 2. So the array list, or the outcome of this operation shifting of the 5, you will find that we copied the 5 here and we put it here. The 5 here remains the same, not changed. Okay, we copy whatever here in the j position to become here. So we are replacing the 2 actually. So you look at the list, you find no 2. I understand that this is slightly trickier and maybe not so clear to understand, but let's continue. So this is the single while loop. This single while loop will actually have another step. One of the steps is to actually reduce the j by 1. So initially we have our j 1, and then we reduce the j by 1 more, so the j become 0. So the j no longer point to here, and it start pointing to this position. So if I compare now my key, which is still 2, that I stored it already in the key variable, I make a comparison between the 2 and 3. The 3 is bigger than the 2, okay? And I mean, our target is to bring smaller numbers up front here. So if I see that the 3 is actually bigger, so I would say that I will move the 3, shift it 1 position to the right. So instead of having 3, 5, 5, I end up moving the 3 to replace the 5, and then I will have the array or the list 3, 3, 5. Now, having the j become -1, so I will subtract 1 from the current j value, and if it is 0 and you subtract -1 from it, so it become -1. Okay, so at this level the loop will stop. Once the loop will stop, we will insert the key, okay, at the position at the index 0. Okay, so we will get our key here, which is carrying the 2, we will make it insert the 2 inside here. So look at the list now. That it's almost sorted because it's just a small list. Of course, if it's a bigger list, you need to do more actions. So you see here, you start with 3, 5, 2, you end up with a list 2, 3, 5. The code to achieve this is still need more explanation. I just try to demonstrate the steps only. So how is it with you? Confused?
It's understandable so far.
50%.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe a bit more.
Okay. So I understand. This is normal. That's why separating things in different classes benefit your brain. Your brain needs time. That is like learning how to ride a bicycle or even drive a car and so on. So that's normal. It takes time. It takes time for your brain to build the neurons inside your brain to actually start to digest this more and more and have a better understanding. So it's okay. Don't worry. That's totally fine. And you have to understand what we are doing now. I mean, you are the first student ever that we managed to study or to even enter an advanced algorithm like what we are doing now in this little amount of time. So typically learning Python takes 3 months. You are making a record here, not because of I am good. It's because you are smart. So,
thank you.
So yes, yeah, really. I mean, I'm not trying to bluff you. That is, if you look at my recording on my YouTube channel, so you find yourself in you and a guy called Tojo, that you are my top student so far. So I think good luck here, and then see you next class.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care.